fair to say it has been tough in recent weeks. What do you put that down to? And you say after games that there's just been something missing. Have you worked that out, and what is it that just needs to change a little bit to get us over the winning line?
I think it's a culmination of a lot of things, to tell you the truth. You know, we've had so far, I think, a very good season, culminating in probably spending 75% of this season in the playoff positions. And it depends on how you get there, how people feel and how people think. If you, say for instance, start off the season in the bottom three and eventually get to the top seven during the course of the season, and you find yourself there in the ascendancy as Plymouth are finding themselves at the moment, then everybody's on a positive high. But if you've been in the top 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for 75% of the season, and you now find yourself in 7th, looking likely you're going to get caught because of the run of games that you're in, or the run of form that you find yourself in, then people start worrying about their position in the playoffs. So it all depends on people's mentalities. And I know where Southend supporters are concerned, and rightly so. You know, the last 3 seasons have been so frustrating for them because, quite simply, they've been in a playoff position for 75% of the majority of the 3 seasons and found themselves missing out on promotion. We're all looking for that spark. We're all looking for that little bit of magic, that little bit of something in football that gets you over the winning line. And in the last 4 or 5 games, I've looked for it, and I've found that the energy is coming back into the team. The belief is coming back into the team, and it seems to have left us, for want of a better word, after the Hull City game. Now, you could say everybody was flying, everybody was on a high. You know, we'd come into December, had a great November, a decent December. Come into January, won in the last minute of the very first game in this year, against Portsmouth. Again, 3 points there. Then we play Millwall, get a fantastic result against Millwall, 4-1. And then we play Plymouth away and Chesterfield at home, and again 2 fantastic results. A great result at Plymouth away in the midst of their best run so far this season, and a fantastic 3-0 home drumming of one of our nearest rivals. And then we come against Hull City in the FA Cup. Since the Hull City game, there's been a downturn in our form, and I think it's I don't know, maybe it's the expectation levels that was built up in and around that game. Where we were in the division, 3rd or 4th, shall we say, in the actual division, coming into that game, having just beaten one of our nearest rivals in Chesterfield, and then we give a good account of ourselves and then get turned over 2-0. And since then, you know, everybody surrounding the support that we received at that you know, one given time, I'm talking about 11,000 punters turned up for that game. That seems to have gone away, and maybe the players are missing it. I don't know. It is something that I've looked long and hard at. We've looked at the energy levels of the lads. We've worked hard on the training ground with regards to technical work, tactical work, physical work, mental work, strength and conditioning. We do it all, and I tell you, I've worked at the highest level, and we do it as professionally as we possibly can, given the parameters of the finances at the football club. So we're trying desperately to cover all the bases. We're trying desperately to get that little missing link that is just stopping us from winning games. And I know supporters can hear me moan and groan about referees after game. We haven't done that too many times this season. I have probably moaned and groaned about the opposition's managers and the tactics that they're employing when they do come to Roots Hall. It's something that we have to address on the field of play. There's nothing else we can do. But at the same time, as a manager, you're always looking at your group, and you're always you're analysing them, weighing them up, finding out what the mentality and the psychology and the feeling of the group is. And at this moment in time, I'm delighted. At this moment in time, we are slowly but surely coming back. All we need to do is turn that corner with regards to results, and I think the season will finish strongly. And I know a lot of supporters out there, as I say, they ask the question about what happens in January, February, March, building into the business end of the season. Well, quite simply, you're putting building blocks in place, and then building blocks are the culmination of a year's work since I've been at the football club, and hopefully we'll see the benefit of that year's work with the last 12 games.
If I'd have said to you at the start of the season you'll be in 7th position with 12 games of the season to go, would you have taken it?
Of course, absolutely. It's more or less what I was saying at the beginning of my answer, which was a long-winded answer, but it's how you get to a certain situation. And in life I always look forward, I always look ahead, I always look to see who I can catch as opposed to who's chasing me behind. And a lot of people can say, well, that's a motivation in itself, looking behind. Yeah, it is for some people, but it's never been my motivation. It's what's ahead of me and what can I actually achieve by catching the next guy and catching the next guy and catching the next guy after that. That's just the way I'm built, and that's the way my mentality is. I think my backroom staff are exactly the same. Now, there will be players out there that do look behind and look over their shoulder and wonder what's coming from behind them. As I've identified, Plymouth are in a momentum state at this moment in time, but there's 12 games to go. When you're coming into the playoffs, it's that moment when you come into the playoffs, who's got momentum. And with 12 games to go, there's plenty of points on board, plenty of points available, and there's a long way to go yet, hell of a long way to go. And yes, we haven't won in 8 games, and people have asked, why. But at the same time, we've drawn 5 of those games, and that is no mean feat. It's in itself. You can analyse it and overanalyse it, and you can get paralysis by analysis at times. But you've got to have a feel for your group, and at this moment in time, the feel for my group at this moment is very positive.